President Trump has yet another corruption lawsuit to worry about. In fact, it's another emoluments lawsuit. Bad news for Trump. An Emoluments Clause lawsuit against him just had a major win. So Raw Story says, according to a report in the Washington Post, federal district court judge Emmet G. Sullivan ruled that a lawsuit filed against the president by 200 congressional Democrats, alleging he is in violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, can proceed. The lawsuit is based on the Constitution's Emoluments Clause, which bars presidents from taking payments from foreign states. Trump's business, which he still owns, has hosted foreign embassy events and visiting foreign officials at its downtown D.C. hotel. The decision opens up yet another legal front for the president, who is now facing an array of inquiries into his businesses, his campaign, and his charity. Trump is already facing a separate emolument suit filed by the Attorneys General of Washington, D.C., and Maryland that is moving forward. In addition, he is contending with the ongoing special counsel investigation into Russian interference, a lawsuit from the New York Attorney General that alleged persistently illegal conduct at his charitable foundation, and a defamation lawsuit brought by former Apprentice contestant Summer Zervos. Okay, so this is fascinating. I think that, at least one of these cases, he has to lose. I think that's what's going to happen. At least one of them. But I don't know what the punishment will be. He settled. You have to remember, guys, he settled in the Trump University case where he was accused of fraud. Like, oh, you have a university? Bitch, you don't have a university. You can't just start something up and call it a university. Like, you need to get a permit. You need to get approval to call it a university. You can't just call something a university and it's not a university. That's crazy. That's in New York. There are laws on that. But that's what he set up his university, and it turns out the whole thing was a scam, and he was just taking people's money and wasn't really telling them any business tactics that would improve their capabilities. And there was we went through all the details of it. It was really weird. Like, they promised he would be there, and then he wasn't there, and they would have to take pictures with a cardboard cutout of him. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he would do classic con artist tricks like upselling. So they pay money to get into the class, and then during the class, all they talk about is, well, if you buy the upgraded package, you can get the real tricks. And so it's just, you keep scamming people. And they made a point of targeting people who were he hired to teach the seminars of Trump University former con artists who had gone to prison for being con artists. People don't know this. But this is why he had to settle and why he had to pay out, because people were like, this is obviously a fucking scam. They would target people who were more susceptible to scams. Older people, it's fucked up, man. But he settled. For Trump University, he settled. He was, accused of fraud, and he paid out. So is that what's going to happen with his charity? Something's going to happen with his charity, because we know that shit wasn't on the up and up either. He went after the Clinton Foundation a lot, and a lot of the arguments he made against the Clinton Foundation were correct. But the thing is, he's got his shitty charity, and he was doing fucked up things with that also. So now, what goes around comes around, and he has a lawsuit over that. But, with the emoluments lawsuit, I've mentioned this before, I think, and there's multiple emoluments lawsuits now, and they've been ruled, you can proceed. I think this is probably the biggest one, because it's like the definition of corruption. He's taking money from foreign governments, and then he's doing favors for those foreign governments. That's what happened. It's not an opinion. That's the reality of the situation. Look what happened with Saudi Arabia. Oh, he took over $300,000 at his hotels from Saudi Arabia. Then he does an over $300 billion weapons deal with them and doesn't care about their fucking abuses. He opened 8 new businesses in Saudi Arabia during the campaign. 8 new businesses. So he has these close financial ties with these nations. He's going to do favors for them. And he's going to expect favors in return. That's the way this works. Don't be naive, man. Like, really? You think this guy's in the White House like, I will do everything for honor and country. That's what I'll do. But you don't. You don't do it. You're going to do it for personal gain because that's who you are. This is the same guy who tried to get control of his dad's will because his businesses kept failing. And he wanted to be able to have access to even more money than he was given, and he was already given, millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. He's a scumbag. That's what he is. So I think he's guilty of the emoluments violations, and I hope that these cases, they come to that conclusion, because that is unconstitutional, and who knows what they're going to do in response. I mean, the sad reality is Washington is corrupt, and so deeply corrupt that they might not go after Trump for his corruption, because then it would kind of, open up the door for everybody to come after them for their corruption. So I don't know what's going to happen, but in a world that made sense, this would be the biggest story in the country, his violation of the Emoluments Clause, because he's a president of the United States who's pretending to be, Mr. America. Meanwhile, he's taking all these money from foreign governments and doing favors for those foreign governments. That makes you massively corrupt, and that makes you a sellout to other governments.